It's Monday morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on the program. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. On Sunday, former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai alleged in a television interview that the federal government, through the Office of the National Security Advisor, has been paying bandits as much as 1 billion naira in Kaduna as part of its counterinsurgency strategy. Now, the Office of the NSA wasted no time in firing back, calling the allegation false, baseless, and an insult to the sacrifices of fallen security personnel. The statement signed by Zakari Mijinyawa listed names of eliminated kingpins like Buderi, Baleri, Sunny Yellow, and even claimed that Ansari leaders once based in Kaduna have been arrested. It insists that not a dime has ever been paid to criminals under this administration. But beyond the exchange of words, what do the facts really show about the fight against banditry? And how do political actors risk undermining security efforts with this claim? Let's bring in security analyst Oyekachi Adekoya for more on this development. Mr. Adekoya, thank you for joining us on Beyond the Headlines. El-Rufai didn't just make a passing comment. He alleged that 1 billion naira was paid to bandits in Kaduna under this government. When you hear such a figure tied directly to the office of the NSA, what's your first reaction?
I think we have to be very careful because there's a 2022 law, I think it's called the Prevention of Terrorism Act, Section 24, which proscribes the payment of ransom for kidnap and even punishable by 15 to 20 years or thereabout. So if the former governor is alleging, then he must bring his facts. That is not to say that we've not had reasons to believe that some level of ransom has been paid. In a number of high-profile cases, you can look at the Abuja train attack, the Kuriga incident, the Dapchi incident, even allegedly even in the Chibok. So I mean, we far about it, but to come out publicly, even the American government has a no ransom policy. Doesn't mean that any government that is sensible will come out and say that, yes, we're paying ransom. So I think that we're in a bit of a political season. We have to be a bit measured when we hear some of these comments. And if El-Rufai has evidence, perhaps he can bring it to the fore. So my own response is just to stay out of the field of speculation.
I'm also wondering to what extent you think Nigerians should know exactly what's happening. The NSA's office has dismissed the claims as false, no doubt. But Nigerians, I'm sure you know, want proof beyond press statements. So, for instance, how can government more credibly demonstrate that no ransom or incentive payments are being made to bandits?
If you ask me professionally, the government doesn't necessarily, because security matters are a bit sensitive. It's not everything. There's a classification of information and a need-to-know basis. Within the realm of statecraft, you can't bring everything to the fore because you must remember that government deals with a greater good, lesser evil narrative based on a case-by-case basis. Now, I'm not saying that I am for or against, but this is statecraft we're talking about here. And El-Rufai, as we know, is in opposition to this government, and he has his reasons for it. So in terms of its impact on national security and what the government should do, I think the NSA has done what any credible government would do. Remember, current President Trump claimed that the then President Obama flew over $500 billion in cash to Iran just for some form of settlement, which, of course, the then administration has also denied. So in statecraft, you will have these allegations of for and against. I think what the government should do is what it has done to lend some sense even to the law passed, because government is a continuum. No government will come and say we paid or we did not pay. That is not a matter for public discourse, because like the NSA did say, it's in a way discussing such matter, not for against, has a way of impairing certain efforts, even current ongoing efforts, which we may not know matters being handled. So I think it's something, yes, the public needs some accountability, but also government also needs to handle its business, particularly when it comes to national security, with some level of caution, I would just say.
It matters though whether or not we are fixing the problem from the roots or we're just padding it. The Office of the NSA has cited peace in places like Benengwari, Gabi, and Giwa as evidence of success, but rights groups are still reporting attacks in those same local government areas. So how do we reconcile official claims of relative peace with what has been reported as continuing insecurity by ordinary Nigerians?
Very important point you raised, Nifemi. Based on data that is available, even open source data, about June last year to July 2025, there have been reported about 4,222 cases of kidnapping. So while the government is making efforts, it does look as though they are shooting at a moving target. So there's relative peace in some places, but I mean, the problem just morphs to another issue. So again, it comes to the issues we talk about. We are dealing with a national security construct using assumptions that are as old as 1958 or 1960. So these issues will continue to outpace the lethargic structure that we have in dealing with the issue of insecurity. Just to chip in the point, and I keep making the point that until the federal government takes the bulk of insecurity back to the subnational government and to them, these issues, because we are slow, we are big, we are not agile, we are not nimble. We are dealing with a highly mobile, highly motivated, highly maneuvering, very situationally aware force. One man sitting in Abuja and wanting to address issues in maybe Kuriga or something, I mean, response will be lethargic. So we need to move command to the tip of the spear, to the ground where command will become most effective. And so government will continue to play catch up. And perhaps that's what El-Rufai and other right groups people are talking about. That while government is making good progress and effort, it seems as though that the incidents are moving faster than government's effort. And that's a clear fact based on available evidence.
We have to go now, but I'd like us to touch on the impact of politics in all of this. The Office of the NSA is accusing the former governor of dragging national security into partisan battles. But isn't there a danger that even in defending itself, government also is risking turning this on its head and, turning security into a political PR contest rather than a transparent policy conversation?
If I mean, this question is very difficult. Truly, the government is between a hard place and a pickle. Government is just basically in a pickle. You're damned if you respond. You're damned if you do not respond, because the political space is ahead of the narrative. Again, so government is playing catch up. Listen, I said, I think it was 2 years ago at the onset of this administration, that unfortunately, this administration will fail, as others have failed in dealing with national insecurity, if they continue to think that the president is primarily responsible for internal security. I mean, politics is local. El-Rufai is talking to his base in the Northwest or his base some parts of Kaduna. So, I mean, he can play politics with people's pain points. The truth is that people are being kidnapped. But the bigger truth is that internal security is not the responsibility of the NSA. With profound respect to the person of the NSA, it's just a security aid to Mr. President. He shouldn't have command. I mean, he shouldn't be the chief security officer of the country. We elected a president, and it again is sad that the NSA's office is the one speaking on national security. So that's why I said, if they comment, problem. If they don't comment, problem. Until we take this conversation back to the governors and the people who hold the governors accountable. You cannot blame people like El-Rufai for speaking about the issues on the ground and exploiting it.
All right.
It's for the president to take this conversation back to subnationals and let the people and the court of public opinion hold the governors responsible for internal security matters. I mean, we've been hearing the talk about increased budgetary allocation. So what would the governor say is their challenge at this state in time?
Talking about the role of governors, that's exactly what we're talking about in the second half of the show. Oyekachi Adekoya, security analyst, thank you so much for talking to us. By the way, happy birthday. We probably pulled you from your party. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, and good evening to Nigeria. Thank you.